Hey guys, my new resistors showed up today, so I thought I'd spend a little bit of time talking about them. Resistors generally don't fail catastrophically like capacitors do, but they do drift in value, generally upwards with age, so it's worthwhile to take an ohm meter and check them all while you're restoring vintage electronics. Two things you need to know when you're going to replace these. One is the value, which for smaller resistors is generally indicated by these color bands on them. You can look it up online and it'll explain what these colors mean. The other thing is the wattage. Generally, the larger the resistor, the more wattage or heat it can dissipate. Generally, the old resistors are carbon composition and you can eyeball the wattage. Otherwise, look up on the service manual or parts list for it if you can find it. So, for example, these are half watt, 1 watt, 2 watt, and these larger power resistors, it's usually printed on them like this is a 10 watt. These are carbon composition, and these are wire wound. You can really see it on this guy where it's actually a coil of wire. Be careful when you're replacing these to make sure you get the right kind. For instance, these wire wound ones can be inductive, which can really screw up something like an RF oscillator. So try to use the original type, be it carbon composition, carbon film, wire wound, etc. Newer resistors can be a little confusing though, because just like capacitors, they've gotten smaller, so it can be quite deceiving to just look at them and know what the wattage is like you can with these older guys. For example, here's an old 270 ohm 2 watt resistor I'm going to replace. Well, here's the replacements. Considerably smaller, and they're actually just about the same size as these old half watt. But these are actually 2 watt. So yeah, I got to hang on to these bags so I can see what I actually ordered to know what the wattage is. Gets worse than that too when you get into other brands. For example, these are 1 watt, which are very tiny. And here's a 2 watt. And these, believe it or not, are actually half watt. So we go, the smallest guys are, oh, I forgot already. Smallest guys are 1 watt. The medium-sized ones are 2 watts. These medium-sized ones are half a watt. And these tiny guys are 1 watt. So, like I said, keep these in the bag so you know what you've got. I also was able to find, if you recall, there was an old power resistor here, nice, what they call vitreous enamel, which is this nice ceramic glaze. And it failed. It was reading infinity. And it was replaced with this green guy and just left hanging here. Well, I was able to find one from Mouser Electronics that's pretty darn close to the original. It only calls for a 25 watt, but this is a 50 watt just because I wanted the larger size. But going too large with wattage is generally not a problem. It just means you can dissipate more heat. So I'll be able to use the old mounting hardware, which is the screw and a couple insulating washers made out of mica at each end. And I think it'll look a lot more authentic that way. Generally, I use metal film resistors. For these guys, these are actually 1% tolerance. Or sometimes I spring and pay a little extra money to get carbon composition, which are made exactly the same as the old ones. But just like the old ones, when I measure these, they are quite often plus minus 10, 5%, just like the band indicates. Whereas these 1% resistors are always dead on. So you know, it depends what you want to go for. These are exactly the same size and look the same as the old original ones. So if you're going for a really authentic look, you can get these in half watt, 1 watt, and 2 watt sizes without too much trouble. But they will cost a little bit more. The one kind I generally don't use is the carbon film, like these guys. So because if you're going to go with film, you might as well just go with the metal film. Otherwise, go with the carbon comps and you should be fine. I'm going to pop these resistors in, and before too long I should be able to power this set back up and make sure it still works. Hopefully I haven't screwed anything up. That's all for now.